This week's episode is a bit of a departure from the norm for this channel, but an article came across my feed that deserved a second look. Lake.com is a website that offers lakefront vacation rentals, but they also produce surveys and studies of interest to their target audience. The website recently published a study of the best and the worst states when it comes to wildlife. All rankings like these are inherently subjective, but this article was based on objective data points. As such, it is worth consideration. The most surprising result from this study for me is that the state of Texas is apparently not the mecca for wildlife we often think it is. While wild natural spaces are part of the biggest draw for the Lone Star State, Texas ranked at the very bottom of the list as the worst state for forest wildlife in the country. The researchers examined 15 different data points to come up with an index score, and Texas had the low index score of 29.87. This comes from a variety of factors like having the second lowest species diversity rate of 2.4 species per 100 square miles, having 10% of its species at risk, number of parks per 100,000 people, and the percentage of land devoted to rural parks and wildlands, as well as forest use land. Following Texas as the worst states for wildlife in the U.S. was Oklahoma, California, Arizona, and New Mexico. The states with the best wildlife populations share several key traits like large forest areas, minimal industrial pollution, and strong environmental protections, said Stephanie Ciccarelli, CMO of Lake.com. These natural features provide the foundation that allows diverse species to thrive. States at the bottom of our rankings face major environmental problems that hurt wildlife populations. Low forest coverage, poor air quality, and high levels of industrial land use make survival difficult for native species. On the flip side, Vermont topped all U.S. states as the best for wildlife with an index score of 71.83. It had an extremely low 3% of species at risk, only beaten by 3 other states, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Nebraska, at 2%. It also had an extremely high number of parks per capita at 44.26. Its percentage of parks and wildlife lands was actually small at only 6%, but when it comes to forest use land, Vermont is way up there at 73%. Filling out the ranks of the top 5 states for wildlife, according to this particular study, were New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. The report reveals that a higher number of species doesn't necessarily translate to healthier ecosystems. California leads the nation in species diversity, but also ranks among the top states for endangered wildlife. In contrast, Vermont, which sits near the bottom in terms of species variety, 45th, offers significantly better conditions for wildlife survival. The study also highlights Hawaii as facing the most severe biodiversity crisis in the U.S., with a staggering 62.7% of its native species classified as at risk. These rankings show how environmental factors at the state level create completely different conditions for wildlife across America, said Ciccarelli. The data reveals that states with more forest coverage, better air quality, and fewer industrial violations typically provide better habitats where wildlife can thrive. Meanwhile, many northeastern states offer a more supportive environment for wildlife, thanks to vast forested areas and stronger environmental protections. All the top states were in the northeastern section of the U.S., while all the states at the bottom of the report came from the southwest and the border with Mexico. This is just one study, and some may always quibble over the particulars, but the data points for all states are available through a link to the study in the description below. You might want to see where your state falls in the numbers and what you may be able to do on a local level to help improve things in your own neck of the woods. Don't stop here. Find out more. Visit the links in the description below for more in-depth information on the stories presented in this video. Or if you are a part of a wildlife organization doing something interesting right now, let us know in the comments.